Hey, it's Josh Matheny here again, back with the Compliance After Hours. Got David. We were finishing up for the day, and David pulls out this ancient tome, and we just started talking. I'm like, no, we got to stop. We got to get the cameras back on, and we need to have this discussion in front of the audience here. So tell me what we have here.
Okay, my face still hurts from smiling because I'm sharing the story here, and from time to time, I'll still do inspections in an office. You know, if it's a long-standing, client, and I am not naming any names here, but we'll find some interesting things from time to time.
Yeah.
So I'm working my way through the facility. I've got my checklist, and I'm looking for things that might be non-compliant, and I'm searching for an amalgam separator. Okay. And I say, well, usually it's in the compressor room. I know this office has been remodeled a few times, changed ownership a few times over the last 50 years. So I'm in there and I see my amalgam separator. And behind it, I see this parchment hanging from the wall. And I'm like, what is that thing hanging back there? So I'm reaching in and I'm going through the cobwebs, and there's spiders, and it's just all manner of beast in there. And I find from 1988.
To put that in perspective, that's a year older than me. I've dated myself here, but it's just, this is literally older than I am.
Yeah, I've only got about 7.5 years on this on this piece of paper here. So I took it down and I'm looking at it, and the really nice dental assistant who I'm touring the facility with, I say, "How old are you?" And she smiles and she's like, "I'm 22." And I said, "I think this document is twice as old as you are." And then when I'm saying that, I just happen to flip it over, and I look at the name this was mailed, this was shipped. I look at the name and I say, "Who owned the practice prior to Dr. So-and-so?" And she, "Oh, Dr. So-and-so's father owned the practice." And I'm looking and I'm like, the name doesn't match here. And I said, "Well, do you know who owned it before that?" And she said, "Oh yeah, he bought it from the dentist who he learned under, Dr. this person." And I'm like, this is from his reign. This is from his actual office. He put this up on the wall. That thing's been up there for 40 years.
Wow, 3 generations old. And so this is kind of the fun part of what we do. Compliance is not typically the most exciting thing, but every once in a while you get some of these wild stories that just are fun to share. The things that you can find in a dental practice.
This is a trophy right here. Like I'll have this my whole career. This is going nowhere.
Yeah.
But we do see offices from time to time that are kind of like the dental Smithsonian,
Yeah.
right? Like you may not be familiar with something called a hydrocolloid. It's what we used to take impressions with. I'm going to say back in the day, probably 5 or 10 years before my 15-year clinical career. And it looks like an octopus. It's got all these hoses for the water to cool it. And anyway, that's a different story. But when we go around in practices, we like to look at the storage rooms, and we really like to look at everything, because we're not just looking infection control and bloodborne pathogens. We're looking standardized things: fire extinguishers, egress, exit routes, and also sprinklers, fire systems.
Yeah.
So when we go to a storage room and it's the dental Smithsonian, and we've got Doc, maybe 3 generations removed, who still has all this old equipment and things up there, and you just look and you're like, well, I appreciate what you've got here. This is a vast archive, but we should probably sell some of these pieces to the museum, get them out of here, because we need a clearance to the ceiling in case you have a fire. It leads to some fun conversations, of course, and little treasures like this, but...
It's really fun. And I guess my invitation to the audience here is to, every once in a while, just take a step back, enjoy the laugh that comes from exploring some drawers or cabinets that you haven't looked at. You never know what you're going to find. But appreciate where you've come from, have a laugh, and then maybe clean house every once in a while. It can help.
It sure can. And I should mention, since we're on this topic, I obviously don't have a sample right now, nor would I bring a sample of this. They used to use chloroform in dental practices.
Okay.
Now, I've seen...
For the unruly children?
I'm assuming so. But I think they used to use that and some other different chemicals to do types of acrylic work, if I'm not mistaken. It was before my time, So I don't really know for sure, and I might have been asleep in that part of my dental assistant career. But anyhow, you'll see these old glass amber bottles, right?
Yeah.
And they have they either had painted on labels where it was like hand painted.
Wow.
I've seen stuff like that. Sometimes the paint kind of wears off those bottles and you don't know what's in it. So it requires a secondary label if you're going to keep it in your practice at that point. Usually we instruct people to get rid of those. But those are the kind of things you find sometimes. And it's the stuff where it's nobody's fault. It's just in that cabinet where you don't even look. Maybe you look at the first two shelves in there, and if you're like me, you're vertically challenged, you're not seeing the top of that last shelf. But that's going to be, if an inspector comes in or something comes up, dang it, they're going to open that and they're going to see that little rascal in the back and they're going to say, what is this?
Yep.
Why are you keeping it? Why is there no label? And like, what is this?
Yeah.
So that's what gets you. It's the silly little things that lead to some great stories, but that's what gets you sometimes.
Sometimes what you don't know can hurt you, is what you're saying.
Indeed, yeah. Don't do the sniff test on that bottle either. And chances are it's not even in your SDS at this point, since it's like 50 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. Crazy.
Well, thanks for sharing the story. Thanks for bringing the show and tell this time. I'll find something for our next visit.
That sounds good. I appreciate you.
So until next time, remember to work safe out there.